Hello everyone. If you have ever watched Elon Musk in the news and felt small because your own progress looks slow, if you have ever tried to build a project or a habit and it broke after a few weeks, if you have ever wondered how one person can handle rockets, cars, and energy while you fight to handle one busy day, then this story is meant for you in a very direct way. You are about to learn a simple system that hides inside the real story of Elon Musk. It is not a magic formula. It is a set of steps that you can test in your own life, starting today. This system is focused and practical, like a toolbox that fits into a single backpack. It comes from a life that has many failures, many burns, but also very clear results. So stay with this story until the end and listen with full attention. Because if you really apply even half of these steps, your next year can look completely different from your last 3 years. Elon's story begins far from rockets and stock markets. It begins in South Africa, in a house where books are easier companions than people. As a boy, Elon is small and quiet. He walks between shelves and pages, like another person walks through fields. His mind is always far away. For him, books are like doors. Each book opens into a new room of ideas. His memory is like a growing library, and every new subject is another shelf. One shelf is science fiction. Another shelf is physics. Another is business. Here is a brutal truth. Most people close their library early and read only one type of book. They stay in one small room of ideas and never see the others. Elon does the opposite. He keeps adding rooms. When he discovers computers, a new door opens. A computer for young Elon is not just a toy. It is like a magic notebook that answers back. He buys a simple machine and teaches himself to code. Code here means instructions that tell the computer what to do, step by step. Think of code like a recipe for a robot chef. You tell it exactly what action comes next. Line by line, Elon learns this new language. At 12, he creates a small game called Blaster and sells it to a magazine. The money is not life-changing. The lesson is, he learns that ideas in his head can travel through his fingers into code and then become real things that other people use. That is our first step. Step 1. Choose a problem that wakes up your curiosity. Curiosity here is like a small internal fire. It keeps you moving, even when there is no applause and no quick reward. For Elon, the first problem is simple. How can this computer follow my thoughts? He does not wait for a teacher or a perfect course. He plays, tests, breaks, and fixes. Here is what most people never realize. They wait for a perfect passion to fall from the sky. In reality, passion often grows from time spent with a problem that interests you, especially when you see small wins. Right now, think about one area where your curiosity is already alive. Maybe it is technology, design, language learning, content creation, health, or business. Your first task is to name one concrete problem inside that area. For example, not just, I like English, but I want to understand native speakers without subtitles. Say your problem out loud in one clear sentence. When you name it, you place your first stone on the path. Elon's childhood is not easy. He is bullied at school. One day, a group of boys beat him so badly that he lands in the hospital. His face is swollen. His body shakes with pain. Here's a painful truth. Many strong stories do not start in comfort. They start with a feeling of not fitting in. The question is what you do with that feeling. Elon does not suddenly become a hero. He does not win every fight, but he does something important. He turns inward to his skills and to his direction. He understands that his future will not be decided on the schoolyard. It will be decided by what he builds and learns. This brings us to step 2. Place yourself closer to the world of your problem. Elon decides that if he wants to work with advanced technology and big ideas, he must leave South Africa. He goes to Canada first, then later to the United States. These moves are not glamorous. In Canada, he works simple jobs. He cleans factories. He does hard physical work for low pay. His clothes get dirty. His body gets tired. But there is a clear logic. He is moving toward the places where his chosen problems live. Think of your problem as an animal, and the world as a map. Every animal has a natural habitat. You will not find a polar bear in the desert. In the same way, you will not find advanced space projects in a random small town without industry. For your own goals, ask yourself where your problem lives. If your problem is becoming a better software engineer, it might live in open source projects, in tech companies, in online communities. If your problem is speaking English, it lives in conversations, English media, and practice groups. You may not move countries, but you can move environments. This could mean changing your daily inputs, the people you talk to, the content you consume, and the places where you spend your time. Here is the secret many people ignore. Your environment is like the soil for your seed. Even a strong seed will die in dry, salty earth. Elon enters university in North America. He studies physics and economics. Physics teaches him how the universe works, with rules like gravity and energy. Economics teaches him how money and markets move between people. You can imagine physics as the operating system of nature and economics as the operating system of society. Later, this mix will let him see both technical details and business models at the same time. During his studies, Elon notices the rise of the internet. The internet at that time is like a new continent. Many people look at it and see a strange toy. He looks at it and sees a frontier. A frontier is a place at the edge of the known world, where rules are not fixed yet and big changes are possible. This leads to step 3. Ride big waves instead of small puddles. A big wave is a trend that carries many people and industries in one direction, like the growth of the internet, smartphones, clean energy, or artificial intelligence. If you choose a wave that grows for years, even your small projects can rise together with it. If you ignore the waves, you can work very hard in a small puddle and stay unseen. Elon and his brother start Zip2, a company that helps newspapers put maps and business information online. At that time, this is a new idea. They sleep in the office. They shower at a cheap gym. They live on basic food. It sounds dramatic, but it is also very simple. They reduce their life needs so they can focus full-time on the project. Here is a brutal truth. At the start of a big project, you often cannot have maximum comfort and maximum progress at the same time. You must choose your priority. To make Zip2 better, Elon builds feedback loops. A feedback loop is a cycle where you act, measure the result, learn from it, and then act again. It is like walking around the same circle, but rising one level higher each time, like a spiral staircase. They talk to customers. They see what features people use. They see what breaks. Then, they adjust the product. You can apply the same principle with your own learning. For example, if your problem is listening in English, your loop can be very simple. You listen to a story like this. You pause and repeat key phrases. You record your voice. Then you compare it to the original and pick one thing to improve. You do this again the next day. Here's what most people never realize. A clear feedback loop is more powerful than motivation. Even on low energy days, a small loop keeps you moving. Elon sells Zip2 and becomes a millionaire. For many people, this is the finish line. For him, it is only a checkpoint. He could buy a big house, expensive cars, and spend his time on hobbies. Instead, he looks for the next big wave. This is our step, or after your first success, Ask a bigger question, not a smaller one. Elon sees a problem in how people move money online. Sending money feels slow and painful. Banks use old systems. Many people fear the internet. He thinks, what if sending money was as simple as sending an email? He starts X.com, which later becomes part of PayPal. PayPal is an online payment platform. It lets you send and receive money through the internet. Think of it as a digital wallet inside your computer. The path is not smooth. Hackers attack the system. Banks push back. The company nearly dies several times. Elon is even pushed out as CEO at one point. Here's a painful truth. You can be the founder and still lose control if you do not manage people and power well. But again, he treats the pain as data. He learns about leadership, about investors, about the politics of big companies. This leads us to step 5. Treat failure as information, not as your identity. Failure is like a lab report from the universe. It tells you which method did not work under certain conditions. It does not say that you are broken as a person. When PayPal is finally sold, Elon becomes very rich. Now comes a surprising part. He does not plan to just make more money. He asks, what are the most important problems for the future of humanity? He decides there are 3 big ones. The internet for information, sustainable energy for our home planet, and multiplanetary life for the long-term survival of our species. This brings us to a deeper idea. Step 6. Choose a mission that makes your daily fears feel smaller. A mission is a long-term direction that gives meaning to your work. You can imagine your life as a movie. The mission is the main theme music in the background. For Elon, the theme is clear. Help push humanity into a safer and more advanced future. For you, the theme may be different. It might be to teach people, to heal them, to entertain them, to build tools, or to protect nature. When your mission is clear, small problems still hurt, but they hurt less. They become episodes, not the whole story. Here's the secret that many people never realize. Without a mission, success feels like random events. With a mission, success and failure both become messages. Elon now does something extreme. He puts almost all his money into 3 companies. SpaceX for rockets, Tesla for electric cars, and SolarCity for solar energy. This is not normal rich person behavior. Many wealthy people like to diversify. Diversify means to spread investments in many small places to reduce risk. Elon concentrates. Concentrate here means to place a large part of time, money, and attention into a few high-impact bets. It is like focusing sunlight through a magnifying glass onto one point. The risk is high. The potential effect is huge. SpaceX starts in a simple warehouse near a rundown area. The team is young and hungry. Their goal is to make rockets much cheaper and more reusable. A rocket is a complex machine that burns fuel to escape gravity. You can compare it to a giant metal elevator that travels from Earth to space. At first, their rockets fail. Some blow up on the test stand. Some fail after launch. Every time this happens, millions of dollars and months of work turn into smoke. The media laughs. Critics say it is only a rich man's toy. Here's a brutal truth. Public failure cuts deep, but it can also cut away your illusions and force you to see reality clearly. Elon uses a method called first principles thinking. First principles are the basic truths that cannot be reduced further. First principles thinking means you break a problem down to these basics, and then rebuild your solution from there. Imagine you take a car, apart piece by piece. You put all parts on the floor. You ask, what exactly does each part do? Do we really need it? Can we design it in a better way? That is first principles thinking in action. Elon looks at rocket costs. He asks, what are the raw materials? Metal, fuel, electronics, human work. If we redesign the process from scratch, can we make it 10 times cheaper? Instead of accepting the typical price as a law, he treats it as a challenge. This is step 7. Use first principles on your own life problem. Take one problem that feels stuck. Maybe you say, I do not have time to learn. Break it into simple facts. You have 24 hours each day. You sleep some hours. You work some hours. You use your phone and watch content. These are your raw materials. Now forget social rules for a moment. Ask, if I was a designer of my own day, how would I place these blocks to open at least 30 minutes of deep practice? Could I wake a bit earlier? Could I group tasks? Could I remove one low-value habit? Here's what most people never realize. Many limits in our life are not physical walls. They are old decisions that nobody reviews. When you think from first principles, you review them. While SpaceX fights gravity, Tesla fights doubt on the ground. Many people still think electric cars are slow and ugly. The early Tesla cars are fast and beautiful, but production is hard. The company burns cash. Deadlines break again and again. Elon sleeps on the factory floor. He walks between robots and workers at all hours. The factory is like a giant mechanical orchestra. Each robot is an instrument. Each delay is a wrong note. A factory and its suppliers together form a supply chain. A supply chain is the full journey of parts, from raw material to finished product. Think of it as a long river. If one part of the river is blocked, the whole flow stops. Here is the secret most people do not see. Big success is not one action. It is many systems working together, often in the dark where cameras do not point. At one point, both SpaceX and Tesla are close to death. Elon has just enough money to save maybe one company. He splits the money and tries to save both. If they both fail, he will lose almost everything. This is step 8. Take calculated risks, not blind jumps. A calculated risk means you know the possible loss and the possible gain, and you accept them both. You can compare it to chess. Sometimes you sacrifice a piece to open a path. You do this only when you see a clear plan. Blind risk is like throwing pieces randomly off the board. It looks wild. It does not win games. In your own life, before a big move, ask 2 questions. What is the worst realistic result, and can I survive it? What is the best realistic result, and will it move me toward my mission? If the upside is big and the downside is painful but survivable, the risk might be right. If the upside is small and the downside destroys your base, step back. SpaceX finally has a successful launch after 3 failures. The 4th rocket reaches orbit. In the control room, the team cries and hugs. Years of pain become one clear moment. After that, contracts with NASA come. Tesla also finds new investment. The companies begin to grow. Still, Elon's life is not suddenly calm. Crises continue. But another element is now strong inside him. Persistence. Persistence is the skill of staying with a task over the long term. You can imagine persistence as a road through a forest. The first time you walk it, you must push through plants and branches. The 10th time, the path is more clear. The 100th time, your feet almost follow it by themselves. This is how habits form. Habits are like paths in your mental forest. At first, they are hard. Later, they are automatic. That is step 9. Build micro-habits that serve your mission every day. A micro-habit is a very small action that is easy to repeat. It might be reading 10 pages, It might be noting 3 ideas. It might be 5 minutes of English listening. Alone, each one is small. Together, over months and years, they create compound growth. Compound growth is a financial idea. It means your interest earns interest again. In skill learning, it means your past practice supports your new practice. Your progress becomes faster because you are not starting from zero each time. Elon's reading habit from his childhood library, his early coding, his experience with Zip2 and PayPal, all of that compounds into his later abilities. When he faces a new technical problem at SpaceX, his physics training. When he faces a business crisis, his PayPal experience helps. When he thinks about public image, his past media wars helped him. Here's a brutal truth. When you see a famous person, you see the sum of many years of quiet practice, not a single lucky moment. Step 10 is about attention. Attention is like a spotlight in a dark theater. Wherever you point it, that area becomes bright and detailed. Other areas stay dark. Elon's attention is often very narrow. When he works on a problem, he can stay with it for many hours. This is not magic. It is trained. You can train your own spotlight too. One simple exercise is to set a timer for 25 minutes and work on only one task. During that time, you close other tabs. You silence your phone. You tell your brain, this is the only stage that matters right now. When the time is over, you rest for a few minutes, and then repeat. This technique is simple, but powerful for systematic learners. Here's what most people never realize. Your phone and your apps fight for your spotlight. If you do not defend it, you will live in a storm of half-tasks. Elon's final important element is people. No one builds rockets alone. He builds teams. A good team is like an extended brain. Different people act like different regions of the brain. Some parts plan. Some parts calculate. Some parts communicate. Elon looks for people who can own problems, not just follow orders. He often gives them a high challenge and checks if they ask deep questions. You can copy this pattern in a smaller way. When you look for partners or teachers, do not ask only, are they nice? Ask, do they care about the problem as much as I do? Now let us bring all of this into your life in a clear review. First, you choose a problem that wakes your curiosity instead of your fear. Second, you move your environment closer to the world of that problem. Third, you ride big waves by placing your work on real trends. Fourth, you build feedback loops so that every action teaches you something. Fifth, you treat failure as information, not as the story of your value. Sixth, you choose a mission that makes your small fears feel smaller. Seventh, you apply first principles thinking to design new solutions. Eighth, you take calculated risks where the upside is worth the pain. Ninth, you build micro habits that compound over time. 10th, you protect your attention like a spotlight, and you choose people who extend your mind. If you apply these steps even on a basic level for 90 days, your life can change in measurable ways. Your skills will not just add, they will start to multiply. But more important, you will begin to see yourself in a new role, not as a passive consumer of stories, but as the designer of your own path. Remember, this story was not only about Elon Musk and success. It was also an English listening workout for your brain. Every image, every metaphor, every simple technical term trained your ear and your mind together. If this journey felt useful, do not just close the window and forget it. Stay with this fire. Subscribe and stay close to this circle of stories. Here, we do not only talk about heroes, we slowly turn you into one of them.